Hello, everybody, and welcome to Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
We're a little early. I set us for 5:40 just to preempt our readiness.
Yeah.
But, so, hey, listen, we're starting about 7 minutes earlier than I planned. Why don't we fill some of that time with some announcements / bulletins that you might need to know about from this side of the camera. So first of all, welcome to the show. Thanks a lot for watching. This is the comic book show where we take books from the past week, recap, review them, let you know what we thought about them, and then give you recommendations for comics that are coming out on New Comic Book Day, that's Wednesday, that we think you should pick up. That out of the way, now you know what the show is. Speaking of shows, New York Comic Con, Thursday. Thursday will be here before you know. We normally shoot on Thursdays, so Thursday's always on my mind. So I'm really happy to, have some kind of substitution. We are going to be shooting on Thursday, but at the con instead. What does that matter? It doesn't. Let's jump into more. So New York Comic Con, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I and most likely you will be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yes.
The problem with that is that the other members of the team don't have as much flexibility with their schedules, and so as such, they will only be around Thursday, Friday. Ben will be there Saturday,
I think.
and that's it. Yeah. Oh no, that's official.
But
Thursday, Friday, whole team. Why is that exciting? If you're going, then on Friday you should go around 1 p.m. to the Valiant Comics booth. That's booth 1635. It's on the main floor. No escalators for you, except for the one that takes you to the main floor. But main floor, Valiant booth, 1635, 1 to 2 p.m. Not only will this lovely lady and myself be there, but we'll also be joined by Ethan and Ben, both of whom will be there, along with Team Comic Story, and they will also be there. But as far as the ComicPOP angle is going to be concerned, we're also going to be selling a bunch of stuff we think you might really enjoy. This includes posters.
Yeah.
And stickers.
As long as they get here.
As they get here. Those are the things we are selling. But multiple posters. Not just the same poster multiple times. Many different types of posters.
Yeah.
At least 2 varieties.
As long as they were approved.
As long as they were. They were. We're good.
Oh, okay.
But posters for sale. You buy them. We'll sign them. Take selfies, all kinds of stuff. That's happening. Stickers, if they arrive, they're really fun. They are the first of their kind. You know, not only will
from
us. Well, the stickers are. The point is, you will have never seen these stickers before, and you may never see them again. So you may want to check it out.
Yeah, we actually got limited runs of them because I've ordered with this company before, and they did a nice job, but I haven't ordered the specific style. So I wanted to do a limited run. So it's actually only 25 of each type of sticker.
Wow. That's actually around the same amount of posters we have.
Which I'm really not trying to make it like, I better get there now. I mean, literally, I just wanted to make sure the quality is what I'm looking for.
Yeah. So no matter what, if they suck or not, 25. The first 25, you're going to pick them up.
Yeah.
But they'll be for sale. So, and actually, I think that's the same amount of posters we have.
Oh, well, there you go.
So first 25, that's it. After that, we'll be signing, your butt or something.
If we sell them off, yay for us.
Oh no, I don't expect
No.
to sell out, which is why we have such a limited run. That being said, limited run, scarcity, it's a thing. Hey, you may never see those posters or stickers again. You will, at least the posters. Anyway, we're gonna jump into that. That's happening Friday.
It's happening.
If you only have a 1-day ticket and it's gonna be on Saturday, don't worry about it, because almost everyone from ComicPOP will be at the show Saturday, and we're going to do a meet and greet over at the DC wing. What does that mean? DC doesn't have a booth. They just kind of corner off an entire wing.
It's great.
It actually is fantastic.
It's a nice space.
Normally we'll meet you at the doors that lead outside as close to the DC area as possible.
Unless something has changed.
Usually
it hasn't.
Which is why
we're not being exactly here on the map, because we have to go scope it out on Thursday.
Yes.
So then how do you find out more about that then?
Well, I'm going to be e-blasting the entire ComicPOP social media spectrum with info, not only about our Friday signing, but also about our Saturday meet and greet. We won't be selling anything on Saturday, by the way. So the only time to buy anything,
Yeah.
Friday. But yeah, we're going to be posting it in the community tab for this video. We're going to be having it on our Instagram, instagram.com/ComicPOPofficial. We're going to be having it on our Twitter account, @SalSaysWhat, @TheRealZoobs.
Yeah.
We're going to have it on our Discord server, which you can find a link for below this video.
Nice.
And our Facebook page, of course. There's already an invite to an event happening.
Yeah.
To the signing on Friday. Go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/ComicPOPofficial or facebook.com/groups/ComicPOP. Check those out for all that information. But if you're just here on YouTube, just check the community tab. I will have more information, but the Valiant meetup is already there.
Nice.
So that's done.
Excellent.
Yeah, we're selling new stuff. It's gonna be really exciting. Yeah. Is there anything else we wanted to get out of the way before we
that was my
get
reminder.
started? All right. Well, then without further ado, let's talk about some comics.
Yeah.
Right?
You read a lot this week. You told me I only had to read a few.
I did. Well, I'm not going to really get into them too deeply. Like, for example, Amazing Spider-Man number 30 from Spencer and Otley is here. It's a tie-in for Absolute Carnage. It's pretty neat. It's actually pretty fun.
Right.
But it is very much like it's
a tie-in, though, which I was like, ooh, you read a tie-in, but you read a tie-in because you wanted to read Amazing Spider-Man.
Yes.
Well,
also, I heard something happened in it, and indeed it did.
Ooh.
Amazing Spider-Man 30, in this story, Kindred shows up. Spencer's brand new, who is this villain? And he shows up and drops a couple of breadcrumbs that indicate maybe his identity. His or her identity, I should say.
Right.
But yeah, it's mostly about Spider-Man fighting Norman Osborn, who is still his own version of Carnage, and he thinks he's Cletus Cassidy.
Right.
He's protecting Normie and Eddie's son from certain harm. And I gotta tell you, like, I've been kind of like iffy on Otley's art, because for the most part with Spencer's run, it's been a lot of talking and characters, just kind of like out of costume. In this, it was just straight up fighting between Carnage and Spider-Man, which was like really fun and cool looking. Like, that really worked.
Okay.
So that's it. It's a fun story, I guess. It's not, the next issue will have the rest of the fight. It's pretty neat. I enjoyed it, but more important, I think I know who Kindred is. I hope I know who Kindred is. See, and here's spoilers for Kindred and for this issue. Spencer has gone on record in saying that he is a big fan of the DeMatteis run of Spider-Man.
Right.
And as such, he kind of like has been putting genies back in the bottle. The whole Kraven the Hunter arc was just so he could kind of preserve the integrity of Kraven after he was kind of brought back to life after the Gauntlet or Kraven's whatever the hell. Some arc where he comes back to life. And he really didn't care for it, and so he's like, well, let's undo that. Let's just fix that. And so he did.
Right.
The other most seminal moment in DeMatteis' run was when he killed Harry Osborn. One of the best single issues of Spider-Man, bar none. And ever since One More Day, Harry Osborn's been back, and arguably he hasn't really done anything of note or interest.
Right.
I would argue that maybe his soul was stuck back in hell, and maybe his hollow shell was put on this earth to kind of like muck around. Again, we're dealing with Mephisto. We're dealing with like resurrected characters like Mysterio and whatnot. We're already dealing with a character that Spencer has experience with and with Afterlife and stuff like that. I'm thinking Kindred might be like either the resurrected Harry Osborn or the soul of Harry Osborn, who's like here to get revenge or to get back in his body or to fix this whole mess. Because like arguably Harry Osborn has always worked better as a college era friend of Peter who died. Like, preserve the death. Because in One More Day, they said he never died in the first place.
Right.
Now I think we're going to be at least acknowledging that he did, in fact, die.
Okay.
So anyway, for that alone, it's kind of fun, and the art's really cool. I like it. Before we move on to the next book, I wanted to say that this show is sponsored by viewers like you. That's right. We don't have any sponsors. We don't have any tie-ins with like any companies or anything like that.
No tie-ins.
No tie-ins at all. Although I will actually plug something. There's a company called Insight Editions, and they make these really fun editions, these books, that are collections and tomes, and they were kind enough to send me this book. They didn't ask me to do this. I just want to do this because I really liked it. But like, check this out. It's Spider-Man From Amazing to Spectacular, the definitive art collection. It's this book from Insight Editions, and it collects... It's bigger than my head. It collects art from all the eras of Spider-Man, and that's it.
Ooh.
And it's just really cool. surprisingly short. Like, it manages to condense a lot of everything you enjoy. Like, it's got the alien costume. It's got the Clone Saga, the first one. It's got the real clone, or the most celebrated or reviled Clone Saga.
Right.
You got the Ditko era, Planet of the Symbiotes, Carnage, Marvel Knight Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man.
It looks like it has some commentary, too.
And has commentary
or is
quotes.
it just explanation?
Yeah, it even has, like, the Zdarsky My Dinner with Jonah story. Like, it doesn't collect all the stories. It has just, like, big blown-up moments and also like kind of descriptors of what they are and quotes from those creators.
Some of it looks like it's just a panel or two, or sometimes it's like a half a page, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
but it's massive. It also has a really fun foreword by aforementioned Spider-Man auteur J.M. DeMatteis, who you have some experience with actually recently.
I do.
Yeah, he was kind enough to sign your copy of Into Shambhala.
He did, because I have not seen him at a con.
No, we've actually been at the same con at the same time. I think we had the last year was the last time we could have met him, and we had to do the meet and greet instead.
Yeah, so,
and he left a thief in the night.
He did.
So I just mailed it to his house.
Yeah. You want to take that?
Oh, please, sure, thanks. But check it out, it's neat. Oh God, I love this. Anyway, it's cool. I love it. Check it out. It's neat. If you get a chance, Inside Editions, Spider-Man. From
amazing to
spectacular.
Very nice.
Really nice. Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, in other words, so the show's sponsored by you. If you want to sponsor the show, all you got to do is use Super Chat, and you can have a question or comment, and it's shared here on the show. We're going to answer it or address it or read it in any way. And so that's a little quid pro quo for you and me.
There you go.
And you.
And me.
Like Joshua Wright here, who says, Algie Try, who says, words have money. See? He knows the score. He's just like, here.
Yeah.
Let me just pay that and get my name up there. And he did. Joshua Wright, here's a few bucks to keep being awesome. Thank you. We need no money to be awesome, but it helps.
Yes.
Love to hear what your thoughts are on Harleen #1. I loved Cedric's writing and depiction of Batman's rogues gallery. Tiffany, we're going to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Because you read it.
I know, and you didn't.
I know I didn't.
Well, no, I know.
You had it. You had the copy.
I know.
But you know what? Why don't you just talk about it? It was a good segue. Yeah, why not? Hey, Josh.
I mean, it's a huge...
Good segue. It's a Black Label book.
It is a Black Label book, which meant I bought it in actual hard copy as opposed to digital. I buy most of my books digitally just because it makes it easier for me to actually get a hold of them quickly. And
although I do have to say, Last Night on Earth is not oversized.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it should be.
Ooh. But yeah, so like for me, like reading digitally is easier in terms of like if I'm at like work and it's like lunch, I don't have to have like, my floppies with me.
You have to deal with like people or ruining your book.
That's what I'm most afraid of, is reading the books. I don't care if anybody sees me reading comics.
Because what we do now is what I will do is like if I love a book, because I buy everything digitally, if I love it, I will try very hard to go get a copy of it.
Yeah, that's
in addition. I need Daredevil #1.
Yeah.
I just missed that.
Yeah.
What an idiot.
It's like me in Once in Future.
Once in Future, we gotta try and find it.
This coming, like, Wednesday is coming out with its 6th print of #1. I was like, oops.
We did get Something's Killing the Children, though.
I did say that, so I'm excited for that, too. But naturally, I went out and grabbed this. I went with the regular cover, not the variant. That was a long process that Sal had to sit through while I decided which one I was going to go with. Decided to go with this. It's written by Stefan Sajic.
Mm-hmm.
There's like an accent over the S and the C, or Sajic.
Whatever.
But art also by Stefan.
Yeah.
This book is basically a examination of Harleen, and the first issue focuses on her early life with narration by Harley.
Oh, cool.
Within it,
like the post transformation.
Yeah, it's a retrospective on what was happening. It opens talking about nightmares that she had. About how like walking through like a lonely street in Gotham, and how like typically she's done this before, and in it when she gets to the end there's like a monstrous face like grinning at her and laughing, and then she wake up, but this time it's different, and like instead there's like a beastly version of Batman there, and there are all these bats around it, and like she decides that like I'm only mentioning this because I thought it was like so well done, that like if a group of crows is called a murder, then this is called a feast of bats.
Oh, and I like that.
That's amazing.
Good use.
And so like basically Batman is there. The bats are waiting to descend upon a figure who is laying like cowering by the creature there. Obviously it's the Joker. The bats are waiting for their chance to feast upon him, but they're waiting for Batman, this man bat, to strike first. Harleen screams out to, like, you know, leave him alone. And he's like, he's beyond help. And she's like, no, he's my patient, blah, blah, blah. So he leaves and says, like, it's on your head.
Right.
Basically.
Okay. And
so, like, they have a moment together where, like, you know, he smiles at her, she smiles back, and she realizes that's a huge mistake, right? Mm-hmm. And then she wakes up, she's like, that was weird, that was different. And then we, you know, get this really lovely image of the two of them together, and it's, like, very, like, it's beautiful looking. Joker's a beautiful looking man.
Yeah.
Which... he looks like that through a lot of the book, but not always. Now, don't forget, though, Harley's telling us this story.
So it's from her POV.
Yeah. Also, Stefan Sejic tends to draw things in a beautiful fashion
as well. Yeah, everyone's sexy.
So it's a little bit of everything, but I'm interpreting this because it is about her and her psychology career early on, as, like, her way of, like, interpreting what happened. And, like, kind of making it like, well, I mean, like, I really couldn't help it.
Right.
So we learn a little bit about her career, about how, like, Harleen was looking to get funding for a project in which she hypothesized that the human mind had basically, like, a emotional immune system in a way.
Okay.
And that, like, inevitably that, like, the brain could break that down and, like, end up having, like, an autoimmune reaction to it.
Okay.
In which it would kill empathy.
Right.
And so, like, that's where these sociopaths come from, like, this external stress. She starts off by interviewing a gentleman who had been overseas in war, having, like, struggling with this PTSD, and, like, what happened, what led him down the path that made him dishonorably discharged.
Oh, okay.
And how, like, you know, he and his, like, friend were like, we'll never kill any men, like, women or children, it'll just be those who are attacking us. But, like, as he's going through it, it became more difficult to decide who was who. One night they're in a bar, like, who was a villain, I should say. They're in a bar, there's a woman, he's like, he encourages his friend to go, like, you know, she seems to have interest, and she takes a razor blade and slices his throat open. And he, like, blames himself, and he's like, and from that moment on, he's like, I killed her.
Right.
Like, he's like, I unloaded an entire clip into her. Mm-hmm. And, like, he's like, it just went down from there. And she's like, see, like, he lost his ability to have empathy because his brain needed to survive, and it started attacking itself. And
I see. Okay.
So, like, she's like, this is my hypothesis. She looks out into the crowd. There's a gentleman there. He's, like, looking at his watch. She starts to falter because, like, he's not, like, he's like, I've got to go, and he leaves. And she's like, cool. Mm-hmm. Cool. So then we see her at a bar. She has a friend named Chandra, who's also is a doctor working to get funding, but her hypothesis was, like, about, like, pharmaceuticals and treating depression. So she got approved for it because it's really easy to say, like, I can make money this way. Mm-hmm. Harley's like, cool, I just, like, threw my, like, career away, essentially.
Yeah.
That night, the two of them leave. Chandra's like, you know, hey, but, like, that said, like, I read your horoscope today and it looked good. She's like, you're, like, in the medical field. Why do you believe in, like, stars and aligning? She's like, it's fine. She's like, I don't understand that. That evening, the Joker is let loose on the town. Mm-hmm. And Harley runs into him. There's, like, an explosion. He's there. He ends up, like, finding her on the streets. He points a gun at her. Oh. And then he doesn't kill her. He gets in the van with his dudes.
Yes, his goons.
Like, his goons, and he leaves. But we get this moment of, like, seeing a flashback to Harley's younger years.
Okay.
Where, like, she sees a whole lifetime of decisions and things that she thought were good decisions. Like, what do you want to be? I want to be a teacher. I'm going to be an actress. I don't know what I want to be. Leave me alone. Wait, I like listening to my friends' problems. I'll be a psychologist. Mm-hmm. And, like, all these other moments. She goes to school. We get to see her there. She gets really great grades, but she's interested in older men. Mm-hmm. And so she ends up having a relationship with one of her professors, which makes it seem like she got her grades for free, but she didn't. Mm-hmm. And, like, there's a woman or a classmate of hers, so that follows her. Where, like, inevitably the two of them work together, and she's like, oh, cool. Like, you also must have slept with someone else to get this job. Like, seems like your skill set really whatever.
Yeah.
And, like, the fact that, like, people call her Harley because, like, everyone's taking a ride, that kind of thing. I mean, it was literally just this one guy.
Yeah.
But the rumor mill, naturally. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so Joker leaves with his dudes. Batman shows up. He, like, throws smoke grenades down, and one of the guys, like, the driver slams on the brake. He goes flying through the windshield, which is, like, I only bring this up because it's hilarious because Joker gets out, and, like, Sejic's Joker is demented, but also, like, that animated series style humor where he is just like, he's like, look, I get the guys in the back dying, but, like, you were in the front with seatbelts. Like, I don't understand. Like, we're criminals. We want to be dumb criminals. And then he shoots him to kill him.
Okay.
And then if Ben were here, and he would appreciate this, but I think you'll also appreciate this.
Okay.
He looks to one of his other dudes and he says, "Bob, you're my number one guy." And
Yay.
he's like, "Okay." Batman shows up, and Harley's stuck in between this like flaming alley behind her and this like smoke-infested streets in front of her, where like Batman is taking down Joker and his goons.
Yeah.
And she's like, "I'm stuck between fire and smoke. I don't know what to do."
Right.
And so she stands there. Inevitably, a cop shows up, and he's like helping a paramedic, it looks like. And they're like, "All right, our plan is," he's like, "Can you walk?" She's like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "We're going to cross the street." The paramedic's like, "That is a bad idea because we don't know what else is down the alleyway because Joker is stealing weapons. Something else might go off. We can't do that." So they end up like, "We'll go across the wall." She's like skirting her way along the wall. And then like she has that horror movie moment where she's just like, it's like every horror movie you've ever seen. She like knows something will come out of the mist and get her, and she can't move. And the guy's like, "Come on, you have to come." She's like, she literally can't move herself. Joker comes flying out of the mist, hits the wall, and looks at her.
Right.
Earlier in the conversation, with the guy who died, the goon who died,
Yeah.
he's just like, "Why didn't you shoot her?"
Right.
And he's like, "Because there was a promise in her eyes that like I would be in her dreams for like ever." Basically.
Okay.
And he's like, "Oh, that's romantic." I'm like, "Nope, that's creepy,"
Yep.
because he's like, "I have control over her now."
Well, yeah.
Because like the terror in her eyes meant that I will be with her forever. I have total
Exactly.
control.
Yeah.
So then he goes flying back into the mist because Batman pulls him in, and we get like Sajik's Batman fighting Joker, which to me is no cooler than here. Like this is the best I feel like it,
Yep.
where like Harley is looking up, or Harleen is looking up, and there's the smoke, and they're within the smoke, and she watches like the shadow puppet like fight between the two of them, and it's amazing. She's like, "I can't look away." Some of the smoke clears. Joker makes a run for it. Like he doesn't look back at all at her. Obviously, he doesn't care.
Right.
Batman chases after him. They end up in like this gladiatorial-looking pit. It's basically a fountain, though. People are going to watch her because they're so angry at the Joker. They want to see Batman beat the crap out of him. And she goes too. And for a minute, she feels totally justified in doing that. As she's like watching Batman beat on the Joker, you know, the sounds of his fist turns like yes, more kill to her. And she's like, I really feel it. Like, I feel like something unhinged in the city. And she sees him, but she sees it like that hideous version of the Joker. So again, like, I'm like, what is real? We have like kind of an unreliable narrator in a way. Harley now always has like nightmares of the Joker. Typically at the end of that street with the mist that we saw in the beginning is the Joker's face, like coming to get her. Like he won't let her sleep any longer.
Right.
She goes to work the next day. The girl from her past is like, "How did you do it?" And she's like, "What are you talking about?" Gets pulled into the office. She gets funding from the gentleman who left the meeting. And he's just like, "I wasn't bored. I just knew that like what I was hearing was effective. I didn't need to hear any more explanation. I had other things to do that day."
Okay.
It turns out it's Lucius Fox on behalf of Wayne Industries, who is looking to cure criminals. Like the idea is that Bruce Wayne thinks that criminals can be cured.
Yeah.
And that there needs to be like, you know, more funding into that sort of thing.
Sure.
So they're like, "Look, if we can try to ID sociopaths and maybe do something to alter the brain chemical imbalance, if something is going on that's killing their empathy, let's do it."
Yeah, exactly.
So Harley's going to need access to Blackgate prisoners and Arkham Asylum inmates and other various, you know, individuals. They're all going to work to do that. She's going to get her funding. Also, her funding was fairly modest. So
Okay.
like Lucius was like, "Yeah, from a financial standpoint, this is a good investment." She gets access to Arkham and thanks the doctor, the overseeing doctor of like the like facility she was working in, who's like, you know, she's like, "No, really, thank you." She's like, "You don't understand, like most people wouldn't give me," and she's like, "a fair shake." She's like, "You know, there are a lot of like rumors and stuff like that, you know, like I like because your relationship with like Professor Collins." She's like, "Yeah." She's like, "Well, the fact is you also had these other two professors, one of which is like a woman older than dirt who like made my time hell, so you earned those good grades."
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I know you did.
Right.
And she's just like, then that like bolsters her spirits, where she's just like, "Oh, someone believed in me, and that's awesome." And then she
Right.
flips off the other woman. It's amazing. It's just great. So this is where like, again, Sajik's like ability to not only tell us a story but also illustrate said story is great, because like Harley has this moment where she's just like, there's something about walking towards the light where you don't notice your shadow, and it's her walking into Arkham, and the shadow behind her is that of Harley Quinn with
Right.
like the mallet and the gun. I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of this is also talked about, like the road to hell is paved in good intentions.
Sure, exactly.
And like she mentions that like sometimes you don't even realize you're in hell even when the devil comes up and says hello, and that's when she meets the Joker the first time earlier in the book. She goes to Arkham. She's like, "This is a fresh start. I'm gonna make friends, and it's gonna be great." And it's like, Arkham's not the place you're gonna make friends. The security officer there is just like, he calls her the wrong name initially, not on purpose, but he's just like, that's a weird name.
I'm Barney.
No, that is exactly what he is, except Barney from Silence of the Lambs is way friendlier.
Yeah.
She sees the Joker, he's being brought back in. They both arrive at Arkham at the same time. She realizes that, like, if she did believe in, like, horoscope and the stars, it would be very obvious that the stars had aligned to make this happen.
Yeah.
Because, like, she goes through a similar day that he goes through, where it's like they both get their photos taken, blah, 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 that kind of thing, right? Like, so it's like, obviously there's something more to this that's meant to happen.
Yeah.
She goes to meet Hugo Strange, who's not into this whole thing. He's just like, Bruce Wayne seems to think that, like, criminals can be cured and stuff like that, but, like, we are about healing, and you can't just treat them like they're inmates and blah, blah, blah. Like, they're patients here.
Yeah.
He calls her the wrong name as well. She finds her office. It has the wrong name on the door. But she's like, it doesn't matter. I'm here for the patients. And, like, she has all of them laying out there. There's, like, Freeze and the Riddler and, like, Poison Ivy's there. And, like, Joker's there, and she puts that file away. She's like, I got plenty of candidates. We see, like, literally, like, one moment from each of the interviews, and they're great. She interviews Zaz. Zaz, like, talks about, like, all of his scars and, like, how he's like, they all have a story. She's like, but I want your story. And he's like, yeah, but my story is my scars.
Right.
She talks to Ivy. She's like, you want to talk about empathy? She's like, I can literally feel nature dying all the time. What are you talking about? Mm-hmm. She chats with the Riddler, who's just like, I let them catch me. Ha, 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 ha. And he's like, I'll give you a riddle on, like, what's going to happen next. And he's just like, he says, there's a thing on Superman's back with a wonderful thing and a letter on top. Name me that letter and that thing. And she's like, escape. Cool. Mm-hmm. She talks with Killer Croc. She talks with Mad Hatter. And, like, she's still plagued with, like, visions of the Joker and such.
Right.
She gets a little more, like, friendly with the guard. More or less like oh, man, we both need coffee because we're both exhausted. Because her plan is, I just won't sleep anymore. Maybe I just need to focus on the interview. Like, maybe I need to do the Joker interview. Maybe that will get it out of my head.
Right.
So she grabs all the tapes from the Joker, and we get that, like, situation. And then she finds one tape that says, like, the real Joker. And it's a video of him outside talking to somebody else.
Okay.
And, like, this, like, clearly he's just committed a crime. And, like, this dude must have been involved with it, because he's just like, this guy's like, give him the chair. Just kill the Joker. Just kill him. And the Joker's just like, now you're starting to see my Gotham, basically.
Right.
Like, we're all monsters in a civilized cage, and it just takes the right kind of pain to break you.
Yeah.
And it's that cold moment. She's like, that's what I saw. And it terrorizes her once again.
Right.
Inevitably, she calls her friend, tries to get drugs to sleep. Nothing's working. Mm-hmm. Finally, she turns to the drink. That ends up letting her sleep.
Okay.
And then she gets a call from Harvey Dent, who wants to meet with her.
Okay, cool.
And Harvey Dent meets her in the park. He's the DA. He's just like, hey, so I hear you're doing this great stuff and blah, blah, blah. And, like, isn't Gotham beautiful and blah, blah, like, in the sunshine here. It's fantastic. I want you to stop everything you're doing. He's like, because let's say you publish your research. Every 2-bit horrible attorney is going to use that, being like, oh, my poor, like, client here doesn't have empathy. It's fine. Let them go. They'll send them to Arkham. And anyone can get out of Arkham. They might as well have a revolving door.
Yeah.
So, like, I appreciate Stefan, like, addressing the legal ramifications of what Harley is trying to do
Right,
here.
exactly.
And then he pulls up, like, a 2-sided coin. He's like, the double-headed coin. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, like, a mother of someone who had died gave this to me and said that, like, basically criminals are this. Like, you might flip them in the air or whatever, but they always land and show you, like, their true face, basically.
Okay. And
she's just like, well, that's also not a real coin. And, like, she just gives him all this shit and then she leaves. She's like, I'm not stopping.
Right.
So then she's like, what's funny, she has a moment, as her monologue, or her, like, internal monologue or narration, and she's just like, and to think, like, 5 months later, we'd both be murderers.
Yeah.
I was like, that's fun.
That's cool.
That's fun. So she finally meets the Joker. It is straight up the scene from Silence of the Lambs where the guard takes her down there, and he's just like, call me if you need me. Mm-hmm. We keep him here by himself, except, Lecter was in a room full of other people. Joker's by himself because he affects too many individuals around him. Okay. So she goes down there. She stands far away. She stands in the darkness. He, like, asks her to come closer. He's like, I won't bite. You can't get through this. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, you look familiar. What is it? What is it? And then he, like, pounds on the glass and startles her, and she becomes afraid. He's like, I know you. Right. He's like, that's what was missing. You weren't terrified. Afraid. Yeah. And he's just like, that's funny. I didn't kill you, and blah, blah, blah. And she's just like, cool, whatever. Like, you tell all these stories and they're lies. And he's just like, but those are more interesting. Mm-hmm. Like, it's the truth is boring. Like, wouldn't you rather just be entertained? And she's like, cool, whatever. And he's like, it's too bad I can't tell you them because now you know that.
Right.
And, like, she wants to know more about the city of monsters he was talking about. Like, what does that mean to him? Like, what do you mean by that? Like, oh, do you think everyone has that inside? And, like, she calls him Mr. Joker, and she's in it, where he's like, please, call me Jay. And so the last page is her saying, very well, Mr. J. And we see her in profile with the light of his cell pouring out. So on the wall, it's the image of the two of them, like, really
together,
close to one another. And I'm like, it's just, like, such a, like, interesting view of her. I mean, a lot of this we've seen before to some degree, but what I like about this is the long road we're taking to her becoming Harley instead of it seeming like so like
it takes like 6 panels, like
right, or like it doesn't matter, she just wanted to get famous. In this, like, she's actually powered and, like, you know, empowered by her desire for research, her desire to actually, you know, cure individuals.
Right.
But there's also something damaged to her. And she recognizes that, like, she's like, you know, after that first night when I met him on the streets, if I might have gone and talked to someone about it instead of hiding it, things might have gone differently.
Right.
And I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's really cool. Also, I love the fact that she has a friend named, like, Chandra, who's, like, you know, like, kind of her lean-to, like, her lean on there. And I'm like, that's what Ivy fulfills for her later on.
Right.
And I'm like,
so there's all these, like, allegories for what she'll eventually become.
And honestly, like, the book is so, like, beautiful to look at because, like, I know for some people, Cedric's art can be, like, a little rushed at times, and it definitely, for me, isn't always as 100% completed, but what he does do is, like, with his, like, less finished parts of the art, it forces you to look where he wants you to look.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which mainly has to do with the faces and the emotions there, so just great. I would definitely recommend checking it out. I think it's just... Yeah, it's a fun book, and I'm excited to see the rest of it.
Cool. Let's see. We were jumping into the super chats before. Josh pitched this. Z-Berm says, Sal, what are your thoughts on Spider-Man's MCU return? I think it's great. I'm really excited. He's only getting the one MCU cameo and the one movie. I'm hopeful that, like, you know, it means there might be more in the future. I know that, like, Feige had a quote where he said something like, Spider-Man actually has an extra power, and it's that he can cross cinematic universes.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the one quote that every article you've read that you think says XYZ is using, and it doesn't mean anything. Like, it doesn't mean, you know, he's going to be in Into Spider-Verse. It doesn't mean that means that there's never going to be another deal. It doesn't mean that, like, Far From Home 2 or Spider-Man 3 needs to have a reference to an interdimensional thing. It doesn't mean that Feige's ending Spider-Man Peter Parker's story. It doesn't mean any of those things. It means that, like, two companies made a deal on a creative medium, and eventually you'll know what happened, but I promise you that whatever blog you're reading doesn't know as much as you do. So, you know, I wouldn't get excited about, like, what it means outside of what we're getting, which is we're not gonna ruin the fun reveal at the end of Far From Home.
Yeah.
So now we get, like, some closure to that.
Yeah.
Also, it's a trilogy, so you get some closure anyway in those trilogies.
Yeah.
So, like, we know that it's going to be cemented in Marvel. We know that it's going to be within the universe, and we know that, like, they don't need to be afraid to use him in the future, or at the very least referencing what happened with him in those other appearances. So that's really, like, that's great. That's all I've wanted. I also saw that there were some, like, rumors about, like, what character he might connect with or, you know, interact with. All of it's rumors. You don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know. And so it's like, and I'm saying that because, like, a lot of people are saying it, and, like, in articles, and, like, if you click through, like I did recently, where I'm like, oh, like, where Feige says this is what's happening, like, link, click, and it just, Feige says this, it's like a Mobius strip where it just keeps feeding in on itself until eventually you get to, like, one quote or a hearsay thing, and it's like, oh, you don't really know anything.
Well, yeah.
Like, oh, it's all made up. Cool.
Right.
You know, so all I do know is Spider-Man's getting, like, another movie.
Yeah, and that's great.
And that is great.
And at least one cameo.
And at least one other movie he will appear in.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
But yeah. Joshua Wright says, Kindred is Ned Leeds. Wink. Exactly. Yeah. They brought back Ned Leeds and then immediately killed him again.
They're like, never mind.
No. Fire's awesome. I wish there were more Asian characters that are not Japanese or ABCD, like Kamala Khan, i.e. like Aziz Ansari, example of a heroine from Sri Lanka. Fair enough. Yeah, I think that'd be... I mean, like, and I know that, like, Marvel is trying some of that stuff. I mean, both Marvel and DC should be pushing it more.
Yeah.
You know, there's the Indian Spider-Man, Peter Parker, and that's pretty neat. Like, there's a whole arc. You get a costume, I think, in one of the games, so, you know, that's neat. But I hear you. I I wish that everyone had a superhero,
Yeah.
you know, or
Absolutely.
more, you know, that you don't need one.
Yeah.
Drew Chester, want to read Hawks Pox, thoughts on what you two read first, or what to read first. Don't read Hawks and then Pox. Like, they're two series that are one. What I would do is
get the reading list from the back of the book and read it the way it came out.
That's right.
Literally, that's what I would do.
Yeah, because this most recent issue of Powers of 10 is is the rest of House of X.
Yeah.
5. So, you know, you gotta. They feed into each other. So
Yes.
do the reading list.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your $10 donation. I don't know who that was, but
Nope.
thank you so much.
But thank you.
Jan Kohler says a little something for you guys. I love Harbor Patrol. Thank you very much for liking that. I'm regularly listening to it during work. Hope you continue this awesome project. Yeah, it'd be nice. If it was successful, we would definitely do more. Thank you for enjoying it. If you're not familiar with Harbor Patrol, it's a superhero RPG series that we tried.
Did you just tell me we're never doing it again?
Basically, yeah.
Oh.
I mean, prove me wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Prove me wrong. Actually, I am thinking about re-editing the entire thing into one big episode and then seeing if that does better.
Okay.
Because, like, there is such a drop-off, it broke my heart for how much effort and money went into that show. Heartless Fang says, have some love and money. I will take both.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Keith Hastings, thanks for mentioning Barney from Silence of the Lambs. Frankie Faison is an awesome actor from Montclair I met in high school.
Oh, no way!
That's dope.
That's amazing.
We're not too far from Montclair, so
Yeah.
representation.
No,
Thank you
I
very much.
love, like, Barney from Silence of the Lambs is actually one of my favorite actors, and even if you're not a big fan of Hannibal, the sequel,
Right, he's in it.
he's in it, and I love it because, like, you get a little more, like, depth to his character, where, like, they're like, don't you ever worry about him coming from? He's like, I never really gave him a reason.
Right.
I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I was a kind person.
Yeah,
And
it
I'm
would
like,
be
that's right,
passe.
you are, Barney.
Yeah, Barney.
Love you, Barney.
Yeah. No, that reference was just for Tiffany.
Yeah. No, I just...
As if Sied says, just send us some love. Well, thank you very
Thank
much,
you so
man. I'll
much.
take it. Silver Cricket, Harley's first love was a murderer. She has always had this magnetic attraction to the unstable and monstrous, all before Joker.
Well, and again, don't forget, this is Sajik's version of this because it is a black label. It doesn't have to actually be within continuity.
And it isn't.
So, like, I would really focus for specifically this on the story he's telling us and the peaks we're getting into her character.
Right. Like, references thereof, like, outside of continuity are just those. Like,
Yeah.
they're just superficial things for you to be like, lol.
Right.
You know, like, oh, or cool. But, like, knowing her deep, rich backstory...
Yeah.
And then applying it to this thing that is another universe won't help.
Right. I mean, like, for me, what I really took away from it was, like, that moment with her professor where that doctor who, like, you know, proves that, like, she's like, no, I believe in you and I think you're a good person, I think is very telling of the character that is being woven in the black label version of it, where it's just like she's looking to have someone believe in her.
Right.
And if the Joker is willing to do that
Yeah.
for whatever his ends are. Because I like that, like, yes, the Joker's in this book and he has a huge obvious effect upon her.
Right.
But it's a book about her.
Yeah.
And so, like, we, in this first issue, don't get 100% what his motivations are.
Yeah.
Because we get that, like, romantic comic at the beginning, and then it's obvious that, like, there is, like, some element of control that he's looking for as well.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. TV, they will probably save the Spider-Man MCU cameo for like 5 years down the line to keep people looking for it. I love the Harleen book, number 1, 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I really like this this version of the Joker, but, like, again, like, I like that, unlike with Damned, where it was just like Constantine was like, I'm an unreliable narrator.
Right.
With Harley, you already go into it knowing that she may not
Be reliable.
Yeah, as
because
reliable.
she's not stable.
But she's also, you know, you get that, like, sense of the Margot Robbie, like, influence on the character, along with, like, the current incarnation of her in comics.
Yep.
But she's a little more, you get that, definitely the educated feel, and, like, her being able to look back on her past with a clear mind is really fascinating.
Yeah, it's true. Cullen Stalin giving a little something for all the videos I binged over the past year. Thank you very much,
thank
Cullen.
you.
And thanks for checking out the channel and
Yeah.
binging it. That's if you're new to this channel, definitely check out everything and just go through it, and then, you know, let us know what your favorite
But it's
thing is.
also high
because
praise to
big
be
time.
binged,
Oh,
so thank
totally.
you.
Yeah, no. Silver Cricket, how do you feel about Ms. Marvel's new costume? I feel like Marvel's trying to catch lightning in a bottle like they did with Spider-Man's black suit. I think so. I love costume changes for superheroes because, like, there is a staple. The culture will react and tell you which one to pick and stick with. So, you know that no new costume change is ever permanent. So I dig it. And I like Carol's costume too. And I'm down with them because like the more costumes they get, it also kind of makes them a little bit more of a established hero. Like Kamala doesn't really have too many costume changes, but she is, a top tier hero in terms of like awareness and in terms of pop culture awareness. And so as such, like I think in a superficial way, giving her more costume changes makes her more of like a established kind of like everyday character.
Right.
Tim Mickledays helping us out. Thank you very much, Tim. DB, have another 5 because Harbor Patrol was awesome.
Oh,
thank you very much, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, Harbor Patrol was great. I love doing it. I would like to do more.
Me too.
And maybe we will one day.
Maybe we'll just stream it next time.
Right? We thought about doing that last time. We should have done it, I guess. I don't know. It really depends.
Maybe I'll put it on the Twitch.
Oh, twitch.tv/ComicPOP Algae Try, more words, more money. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Try. That's very nice of you. Jan Kohler, how much money do I have to spend for you to continue Harbor Patrol? Here's a little start. Thank you very much, man. Honestly, like it's not about the money. It's about like getting about the effort and.
Well, I'd say it's also about the interest, because if the interest isn't there from the population as a whole,
we're not going to do.
We don't want to force it down anyone's throat. Like if you're not here for that, we got it.
Right.
We totally heard
we
you.
hear you.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like there are a lot of shows like that we made that we liked that you didn't like, so we didn't make them anymore.
Which is like, we gave it a shot.
Well, that's how it works, exactly. Casey Alfrey says, hey guys, first time joining live. Welcome to the show, man. Just wanted to say thank you for helping me get through the workday. Just finished the entirety of back issues.
Wow!
You watched more than 299 episodes.
That's amazing.
We do have a lot of episodes. Martin Archuleta, excited for 2099? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Victor Bogdanovic's drawing some of it.
Yeah.
So. If you don't know, he's a pal of ours, and he worked on a book I did. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
And another extra $5 from somebody. Thank you so much for your generosity.
All right.
Moving on, I wanted to talk about just a really quick thing about Batman Superman #2 from what was it, Josh Williamson and David Marquez. Superman and Batman fight the Shazam who laughs, and then
Shazam laughed.
Right, he's laughed before, but like that's what they're naming him. I wish they had like more clever names for these people. But in any case, the end result is Shazam was trying to convert Superman, and that's when they found out that like the Batman Who Laughs plan is to convert Superman into the Superman Who Laughs, so that they can like be the world's finest team, but from the dark multiverse. Because Batman Who Laughs killed Superman, so he never got a chance to actually turn him.
Right.
So basically, building off of the Batman Who Laughs story, where Batman like was able to be infected by it, but like still use it. It does the same thing to Superman at the end. So Superman's like, I'm the Superman Who Laughs, blah. So he like frees the Batman Who Laughs, but he's actually like a sleeper agent for Batman. Superman and Batman are working undercover.
Okay.
I'm losing my interest in this series in a big, hard way. But it's a lot of fun looking, so that's neat.
Okay.
Batman White Knight continues to be great. Check it out.
Okay.
That's all I'll say. Oh, and I think they're pushing a Harley Quinn romantic relationship with Batman.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, in that?
In Batman White
okay.
Knight.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
In
that universe, I could see it.
Yeah. No, very much.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's very on the nose, and I know that Murphy, he hits it on the nose.
That's okay. I will say I agree with a comment in the stream here saying like, was the Gordon who guffawed in it?
He was in the last one, and yes, he was in this one, and
Okay.
he's definitely working for someone.
Is he guffawing?
He's not yet, but he's chuckling a little bit.
Is he chortling?
A little bit.
A little chortle. I didn't get a chance to fully read it because it's really bizarre how much effort goes into getting ready for the con.
Yeah, you think it's gonna be like just
every year, and I'm like, no, we got this, and then it's like, oh no,
yeah,
no, we don't got this.
Yeah.
But I do want to mention that Justice League Dark number 15 came out. I'm
nice.
sorry, in Justice League Dark. In Justice League Dark.
Oh God. Oh, I see.
He's the bad guys.
Yeah.
In it. A lot of crazy stuff happens. We're calling this the Witching War, which I appreciate because it's versus Cersei, obviously.
Yeah.
So like, I'm down. I'm down for that.
Cool.
The big takeaway for me was a really sweet panel of Man Bat, because remember Kirk was like influenced by what's his name, Mordred.
Yes.
To be like, oh, like they don't
trust you.
They think you're weak. You got to show them how powerful you are. And he becomes this like he gives himself a serum that he creates like this horrific mutant bat creature thing.
Okay. He's like a bat king.
Yeah, he's like a bat king. And obviously, and we also go back to the moon, or like the moon. Like remember in the witching hour when like Wonder Woman died and was like on the moon, and like witch fires there. We go back.
Okay.
I'm like, you remembered it existed, Tynion.
He invented it, so why wouldn't it be?
But he used it. He was just like, we have this thing.
We did that.
Let's
we
go
have
back.
this thing. Why not? Why not?
So yeah.
Nice.
It still continues to be a great book in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
for you, Tynion.
Yeah, and he's blowing up, so,
I just want to say, I love your work. Please don't be, like, don't be destroyed by what you have coming up next.
Right. Yeah.
So, good luck.
Yeah. Powers of 10, number 5.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack in this issue, which at first I didn't think there really was. I was reading it. I feel like Powers books always take me longer to read than House books.
Yeah. House is what's happening. Powers is what it means.
Right, and so like that one, I'm like always like, okay, hang on.
Yeah.
Like the Powers books have been the books where I've gone back more, like through pages. I'm like, wait, whoa, go back.
They will think we are doing one thing, but the truth is we are doing something altogether different.
Yeah. So like other Professor X is speaking specifically about humanity in terms of the book, or he's speaking directly to us. He's breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
And like Hickman is speaking to us through Professor X.
I think we're getting a little bit of both.
Right?
But in the story,
we go to what looks like one of the restaurants at Disney World.
Yeah, which is very nice. But Chuck meets up with Forge, and they they come up with the backup plan.
Yeah.
And
not
like
the backup plan.
Yeah,
the
mutant
mind
backup plan. And so because we are like, I think you can pretty much like date where we are and when we are, but it's not now, and nor is it like recent. It's a ways down the road.
Well, this was X0.
Yeah.
So
right. So
it's it's on the way to it. He's also in a wheelchair still.
Exactly. Well, we do know there's I think 5 or 6 iterations of Cerebro, but basically we know that through Shi'ar technology and Forge's abilities, this is how they managed to like set things up.
How did they unparalyze Professor X?
Oh God, I don't even want to get into it. Just let's just put it this way: they did it. It's a trope. Like he's always like. Sometimes he's only paralyzed because of a psychic attack. Sometimes he really is paralyzed.
Right. Well, I was like, in this, he could be unparalyzed because of cloning.
I know. But
which makes it easier, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. So Charles is chatting with Forge, and this is the big this is the thing where Hickman is like, okay, I need you to really not trust Professor X because of what you read in the last the last issue.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna push it home by having Professor X sinisterly smile in every other panel. He just looks like a total maniacal genius. It's amazing.
Right. Oh, I mean, like, you know what never helped Professor X? Those eyebrows.
I know, those particular eyebrows.
I don't understand why no one's ever gone up to him and been like, Chuck,
we gotta do
something about this. I don't know what it is, but we need to do something about those eyebrows.
Mm-hmm. But we're setting up like how that works, how Cerebro works.
Yeah.
And then
we also set up the fact that Forge recommends, like, it's like, listen, you can have, like, your little backup system, but, like, I would have at least another one just in case. And he's like, I want 5.
I want 5.
And I'm like, 5?
Why 5?
Well, 5's an important number.
Of course it is.
In this series, at least.
Oh, yeah, no, it's true.
It's also half of 10.
Whoa! And we're in Powers of 10, so yeah. No, it's true. So we're setting up a lot of things. We're setting up more moving parts, more dominoes. Yeah. So it's like, okay, what does this mean? Why does he want 5? What are the 5? Oh my God! Like who's misusing it? Who's manipulating it? All that stuff.
I'm not gonna lie that like as serious as this all is and what this might mean, and like the idea of having these duplicates and how further down the series could be completely mishandled.
Yeah.
This did remind me of that episode of Gravity Falls with Dipper and his cameras.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're just throwing him over the edge.
Yep.
So then we cut to a little later on, or probably around the same time, where they recruit Emma No, it's now.
It's before now.
It's before now, but it's
Not
closer to now than before. But anyway, Chuck and Magneto recruit Emma and basically say, like, you need to bring Sebastian Shaw back into the Hellfire Club, and we want to make you, like, part of our little club.
Yeah, like, we came up with... Basically, this is also explaining how the drug marketing went, where it's like, Chuck's like, I made a bunch of shell corporations and shells that own other shells, but, like, we need an actual legitimate business to help distribute them because we can't trust humanity's businesses to distribute them with the rights that are necessary. So they're like, we're going to use your industry, Emma. And, like, part of that, I think, is also dangling that carrot.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, Emma's really big on that. And, like, even when they negotiate the terms, like, they're like, we're thinking, like, a 20-year. And she's like...
And they're like, oh, did I say 20? I meant 50.
50-year, exclusive agreement.
Yeah. She's like, that's what I thought.
That's what I thought you said, yeah. But that, like, she will also be part of the council until they establish, like, a real government. She's like, well, that only lasts so long. And they're like, well, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, well, what if you could live forever because we're going to keep making clones of you?
Right, exactly. But yeah, that they have to bring Shaw back. And she's just like, they're like, so we all figure out it'll be 2 seats on the council for the Hellfire Club. She's like, I'm going to need 3.
I'm going to need 3.
I'm going to need 3.
Yeah. So then,
please put my feet up.
Right. So they take her to Krakoa and they show her, and basically she's like, all right, I'm in.
Right. And it's interesting because they show her the flower, which obviously the flower has to do with this is where the drugs are coming from. But they show her the flower as she arrives there, and she's immediately, like, blissful about it.
Well, I think they're using it. Yeah. Well, it could be.
And I can't really tell if that's, again, Hickman trying to lead us to this, like, thought process that the island or, Charles is affecting her, or it's just because it is so beautiful there.
Yes.
You can't help but be taken aback by it.
Especially if you buy into this whole, like, propaganda where it's like, this is for us.
Yeah. But, like, she definitely has this moment where it's like, there's, like, flower petals floating around her, and she's just like,
yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Exactly. Even though she was part of Genosha and knows, like, how bad it could get.
She does mention that to Magneto, where she's like, really?
You're gonna put them all in one spot?
Yeah, you should know better than this.
Yes, exactly. So then we get our look at the council, which, of course, is redacted. We'll get into that in a minute. That'll be how we'll wrap up. But wrapping up the rest of the story, basically, Charles, I think this is the part where he invites everyone.
Yeah, like, he sends out his call. He's just like, hey, everybody, check it out. New place for mutants to hang out. It's called Krakoa. We're making our own nation. You guys should come on by.
Yeah.
Just come be part of it.
And the last person in our story that they invite is Namor, which I was like, oh, man, you remembered that Namor's a mutant. How cool. Yep. I love the sequence with Namor because, it's like Hickman hasn't forgotten how to write Namor. Also, like, the way in which he is portrayed, he calls in a bunch of great whites.
He's on a ridiculous, like, Lovecraftian-esque throne with a big seashell behind him. Yep. Clearly the seahorn is nearby.
Yeah.
And he just is like, oh no, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I love that. Just it's you finally figured out that you are, like, more important than everybody else.
Yeah, that they're never gonna love you.
Yep, and that you are superior. Do I look like someone who's just realized how much better I am than everyone else? I'm like, that's totally Namor, you got me. And he's like, but more important or more interestingly is, of course, like, Namor says no. And he's like, because you don't really mean it.
You don't really feel that way.
Yeah. So don't come here until you do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, what does that mean?
Right? Like, is that Namor just being like, there's no way Charles Xavier could feel like that? Or is that another indicator that, like, they're doing the Ozymandias?
Right.
Where it's just like, the way to get humanity and mutantdom to come together is by giving them something to hate.
Yes.
I don't know.
I don't know. Then we cut to my least favorite part of this entire thing, which is the future, where the Phalanx kills the head of, like, the elder of the council, and they explain it. The whole thing is used as a example to establish, like, the rules of societies and, like, how the progression of everything.
It explains how the phalanx seems to work. Now, this is one of those things where it's just like, I read all of this, I've read it all again.
Yeah.
But, like, this section, like, the future stuff, I feel like needs to be put all together to truly understand
Yeah,
it.
you need to read it all in one sitting. I think that's going to help a lot.
But they definitely explain like the differences between a Titan, a Stronghold, and a Dominion, and how there are like these theories that like a Titan, like a black hole, isn't actually just a black hole. It was like a super intelligence that like, you know, collapsed in on itself and became a black hole essentially. Right.
Yeah, but basically, this is the like end game for Phalanx.
Well, and it also explains that it's just like, well, they're like, why did they eat him? Like, why did they destroy him? And that's like, well, because you guys kind of misunderstood that it's like, yes, they will take all the memories that you have and it will upload them, and that'll live forever. But it will also eat you all.
Right,
it'll eat the planet.
Yeah, it'll destroy the planet. And that's when I was like, oh, we're gonna go with Galactus? Like that's what the Phalanx is? And then they're like, no, actually, Galactus is one of the two beings that it fears the most.
Yeah, the other being the singular universal manifestation of life, the Phoenix.
And you're like, oh, cool.
I'm like, yay, we mentioned the Phoenix. Yeah. Finally.
Yeah. But so we got a lot of this is a major info dump like episode, but also
issue,
yeah. But it also like helped to establish some big things. Like
it definitely did. But before we get into this page, it's interesting how much they're focusing on how the like ruling bodies of the Phalanx seems to work.
Right.
And I was wondering if part of the information that they stole in Life 9 was how this all works, and perhaps that's what Charles is attempting to do as well. Like they're creating like a natural like
a biological Phalanx.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because like that was your theory, because I was like, oh, I just chalked it up to them getting like info about how to kill Nimrod.
Right.
But like, what if?
Because I was like, I thought they got something else. Like I don't know why I had that in my head, that they must have gotten some other piece of information that we don't know what it is.
Yeah, no, but it could very well be that what they did was they got info that explains like what this whole thing is, and then they were like, "Oh, that's a good model. Let's follow it."
Right, because like Cypher has
Warlock,
who is
a Phalanx.
Yeah, and so like he already has access to that. So I don't know if they're not trying to integrate that, and then like because we keep seeing these like diagrams of how the Phalanx work, and then we see these diagrams on how like the Council will work, and like how some of it
they're all similar.
Yeah,
like, yeah. The way the way they all feed into each other and everything. So yeah, speaking of the council, there's a quiet council of Krakoa, and this is like a heavily redacted roster of who's in charge.
And if you got it digitally, it's all actually redacted and you can't see anything.
Right, but if you got but you can see through the black bars if you got it in print. So somebody thankfully put all those together before we need, after it's time. So let's talk about that. Let's spoil it a little bit because
literally we're going to launch into
what
info,
who the Quiet Council is.
Yeah.
The Quiet Council, according to... Let me just load it here.
Yeah.
The Quiet Council is broken up into seasons.
Yes.
Autumn, winter, spring, and summer. And, of course, Krakoa itself.
Yeah. I love that Krakoa gets its own seat.
Krakoa. And also Cypher. And more only because, like, Cypher can, like, talk for Krakoa.
Yes.
But
I am Cypher. I speak for Krakoa.
Exactly. So, yeah, the first council is, of course, Professor X Magneto. Then it was redacted who the third member of the council is. Everyone kind of assumed it was Moira or something because we haven't seen her yet in this timeline. No, the third seat is Apocalypse. Then in winter, the whole thing is redacted. The Winter Council is Mr. Sinister, Exodus, and Mystique. All villains or, thereof. Exodus is the most surprising because, like, outside of putting him front and center in a couple of like big group shots, like who's thought about or considered Exodus ever?
Oh, it looks like they're saying that there's an error in the digital copy that was sent out to journalists. Oh, I thought it was literally because sometimes when you print text on, and I've had this
the
happen
infamous
before.
All-Star Batman and Robin Batgirl issue.
Well, I was gonna say, I've literally had an issue where like we'll do something with a logo where there's like a line behind something, and it's like, oh, it's fine, and then when it goes to print, it's actually raised underneath, and it's like, oh, cool.
Right.
Damn it.
Exactly.
Gotta go back and finish it. I didn't realize that there was an actual copy-paste job.
Yeah.
Nice. Anyway.
So yeah, Winter Council, Sinister, Exodus, Mystique. The Spring Council, which is the Hellfire Club, is Sebastian Shaw and Emma Frost. The third member of the council, which was at the behest of Emma Frost, is the Red Queen, known as Kate Pryde. Kitty Pryde is now a queen of the Hellfire Club on the council.
It's just like,
at the request of Emma Frost, which doesn't surprise me because she's like, Yeah, because that's who she is. I think that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Summer, this is the most X-Men-y, which is Storm, Jean Grey, which they're calling Marvel Girl, and Nightcrawler.
Which is funny because it's like that one to me is like the most oh, this could blow up team.
You think?
I think so.
Why?
Only because Marvel Girl's on there.
Oh, because it's Jean?
Yeah. Because Nightcrawler will be trying to hold on the fort. Storm, as we've already seen,
Storm has become a zealot.
Yeah.
So who knows?
So there's that concern there, but as soon as you throw Jean into the mix, you invite chaos.
Right. Well, you invite the Phoenix.
Yes.
It may possibly. So yeah.
And they're the summer one.
Yeah.
Right. So
Not spring though. But rebirth, rejuvenation.
Right.
But yeah. So that's the council. What does that mean?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's it's neat.
Yeah, honestly.
But it's all ending.
Yeah, that's what is so baffling to me. We have two
issues of this series that is one series made of 2 books.
Right, and I'm wondering how much is actually going to get resolved and how much is going to be if you want the rest of these answers, you're gonna have to read X-Men.
Yeah.
Which would be genius on Marvel's part to get people back into X-Men.
Oh,
to
totally.
Get people into X-Men possibly for the first time.
Yeah.
We need to do that, but I also just want those answers now.
Definitely.
Is it, pod people, is Moira's no place?
Yeah, what is that? Where is that?
Right? Is that, I think in one of the earlier maps, I don't know if that's on there.
It is, yeah, it is.
But is that where Moira is? Is that where Moira's body is? Because you have to keep the body alive. Obviously, that's what they did in
that's what they did in the Apocalypse future.
In Life 9. Does that support the Moira's mind is actually in Charles Xavier, and that's why they're we don't go to Moira's no place, because then you'll find out that there's just a body sitting there being kept alive.
Yeah, exactly.
Are they doing this Ozymandias create this issue that is grander than both mutant kind and humankind?
Yeah, that'll bring everybody together.
Maybe they'll bring the Phalanx now, and we have to fight against it.
That would be kind of cool if the whole thing was just generated by Moira as we need no, all that crap in the future is stupid and we can't deal with that now. It's just the Borg.
Right, if we bring it now,
then maybe we have a shot.
We'll band together and be able to
and Charles' dream can actually come true.
Right.
That'd be cool.
There's just so many possibilities, even though we're so late in the game.
Yeah.
At this point, the series has for me continued in its excellence and its ability to generate conversation and theories,
exactly.
and that's what's sad about it coming to an end.
Yeah.
It's when all the answers are finally revealed.
Yeah.
It's we can't hypothesize any longer.
I know.
I'm still excited though.
No, definitely. Me? Yeah. No,
I'm
digging it. Silvery Cricket says in 2017, Professor X took over Phantom X's body. Phantom X willingly stayed in the astral plane to rule as its new master, so the Shadow King couldn't return, which is why Charles can walk.
Thank you.
Or at least that's why he could walk in 2017. Probably he can walk now because of clones and pod people.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering is if it's not now, if it's not that now.
Right. I feel like they're throwing away the Phantom X thing. But Death Insanity says, I tried to watch this when you were live, but work got in the way, watching the archives because I want to know what you think of these comics. Harleen, great start. Did you read White Knight? Yes. Yeah, Harleen's a good start.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I didn't know you wanted me to answer that immediately.
Right.
Yeah, Harleen was a great start. I had a great time with it.
Yeah.
Can't wait for more.
I dug White Knight. It's got a really expected but heartbreaking scene. I really enjoyed the entire. I'm loving the series.
Mm-hmm.
And Spider-Man 30's Kindred is Harry before One More Day. My guess is it's Harry's soul throughout One More Day, and the whole thing is going to culminate in One More Day.
We actually read all the comics on that list. I don't know if you knew that beforehand. But...
Yeah, but thank you for your question. Big Will says, how many new series do you think will launch after Hickman's Power and House books? They actually have a list. There's the Exterminators, X-Men, the Marauders, Excalibur.
It's going to be too many for me to
read them all.
But
he's not writing them all,
and
so
that's
fine.
the biggest issue. Is I just.
Yeah, are they in on the plan?
Yeah, if everyone's not playing ball, I'm
Yeah, there are quite a bit. You can get the list.
Yeah.
Mr. Roboto, okay, Namor's old. Where are all his children to honor him? I don't know.
They're shark children.
Yeah, those are his children. We saw them. Just a pod of sharks. Christian Pereira says, hello, Tiffany and Sal. I'm looking forward to watching you explain Hawks and Pox to Ethan and Ben in a future back issues.
We could team up on that one.
That's not a bad idea.
Oh.
You heard it here first, folks. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much, man. Flashpool, just tossing some money at you, and that is a great hat. Hashtag TiffyFresh.
Thank you. You might actually see this at the con.
Yeah.
If you're going, because Thursday it might rain.
Yeah. It's going to rain. 90%?
It's gonna rain.
Jason Turner, what Marvel villains do you think would be locked up in Arkham if they were in Gotham City? All of Spider-Man's villains, basically.
Craven would be there if you were still alive.
Yeah, Craven. Yeah, maybe.
And Norman.
Most of them are actually just jerks. So it's like Norman, Craven, Vermin,
Sentry.
He's not a villain of. Well, yeah. Well, I guess he is.
Yeah, that would be a rough one. To be like, we have to put you here.
Right? Like, is Red Skull crazy? Is racism insanity? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of them. Yeah, but there are actually more, probably fewer than you would justify. I don't know. No, DC has is Black Manta crazy? No, they're not going to put him in Arkham. So it's basically just all of Batman's rogues fit in Arkham. Not most of Spider-Man's rogues would fit in Arkham. You'd have to really...
But many of them.
Yeah, just, you know what the reality is? Just check Ravencroft.
Moon Knight.
Who's in... Right, Moon Knight naturally.
Might end up there by accident.
Yeah. I would just check the roster for who went to Ravencroft, and then you'll know, because that's everybody. Like,
yeah.
You know, because Ravencroft is just the ripoff of Arkham.
Right, but they also tend to seem to add that scientific element to it as well, so I feel like that skews away from the idea of Arkham a little bit more so.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So before we leave, we're going to recommend some titles for you to pick up this week. My list is very expansive. It involves Justice League number 33. Comes out this Wednesday. Snyder teased that it is the start of something crazy, and I'm like, oh my god, what?
It's the start of shoes.
Yeah, there's a lot of shoes in this issue
boots.
on this cover. But yeah, Justice League number 33 is more of the rest of the story. I've been enjoying the last two issues, so I'm thinking it'll probably be cool.
Okay.
Deceased 5 is coming out.
I'm glad you said that.
It's great.
It is.
Deceased is great.
Yeah.
Read it. It's the penultimate issue, so one more issue left.
I love that we get to use that word so often.
Me too.
Really do.
Spider-Man Far From Home is getting a hardcover art of the movie thing.
That's
so
fun.
I always like those. I want to see what got cut, what got kept, how close to the Mysterio design they almost got to. You know, I think it's just neat. I just like those books.
They were pretty good.
Yeah, they were. Oh no, they were really good. House of X number 6.
Yes.
It's coming out.
Yes.
It's gonna be nuts. So check that out. And of course Daredevil 12, which is the best Daredevil series in a long time. And that's saying a lot because Charles Soule's run was great too. Tiffany, what do you got?
I'm gonna recommend from Marvel Ghost Rider number 1.
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Ghost Rider. Ed Brisson and Aaron Cooter. It's Beware of the Ghost Rider, but it's Ghost Rider number 1.
Ghost Rider number 1. Yeah.
It's got Johnny Blaze as King of Hell. Hi, remember that happened?
Yeah, I do.
And Danny Ketch is being thrown back into it. He didn't want to do it though.
Oh, what a shock!
I mean, I don't blame him.
No.
Someone might, push him into garbage and then take his motorcycle.
Yeah. Or trick Blackheart into punching him and taking his motorcycle.
Exactly. He might have to just leave the situation entirely.
Which he often does.
Exactly. I do want to also, I'm not saying I'm really into this because it does lack this magical horror thing I'm always looking for, but I know a lot of you guys aren't into that sort of thing, so I want to mention that Image is going to be putting out Dead Eyes, written by, I think, Jerry Dugan. It's like a mafioso 1990s kind of era comic that they're putting out.
Okay.
I just wanted to throw that out there because it's not the thing I normally would talk about, and I feel like I don't give a fair shake to things that don't have horror or magic
in them. Yeah.
I'm sorry, everybody.
No, people like their thing. Yeah.
Doctor Strange number 20.
Is this it?
Is happening. Kana is back. I believe this is the last of this run.
But we do know that
go into the Surgeon Supreme.
Yes.
Now that he has it has not been my cup of tea. I'm still going to check out Surgeon Supreme because I'm hoping that this tethers Wade to a less cosmic run with Strange.
That'd be
and
nice.
Maybe talks more about that more tethered to Earth, what's going on here.
Yeah.
Again, Strange needs to be able to bebop and scat all over the place. I get it.
Yeah.
But it's just been nonstop space and stuff like that.
I know.
So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
And Die number 8 comes out.
Oh, cool.
This week. So, if you can't get enough of Kieran Gillen, certainly the numbers are saying so based on the fact that, like I mentioned earlier, Boom had to go back to a 6th printing for Once and Future, number 1. And I think they're on a 2nd printing already of issue 2.
Mm-hmm.
I love that book.
I know.
Also love Die. That's Kieran Gillen and Stephanie Hans. D&D Jumanji gone horribly wrong.
It's great.
Just such a great book. Go check it out if you didn't get a chance to pick up Once a Future, or you haven't checked it out yet because for some reason you don't want to read about Arthurian mythology and kick-ass grandmas.
Right. Which, why wouldn't you?
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Go get it. It's worth it.
Press 8040, 2 hosts, back issues for Hawks and Pox. I guess it's 2 hosts that are 1. I would definitely say that. Yeah. No, that's we're gonna really play that up, I think. That'd be easy to do because both series are ending soon, so we could do that pretty relatively sooner than later.
Yeah.
I was thinking like, oh man, that'll be fun like 6 months down the line. It's like, no. Yeah. And Cash Money in the Bank, cash for the bank. Thank you very much, Cash Money in the Bank. It's going there right now. I want to thank you all so much for hanging out with us. Of course, before we go, New York Comic Con this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll meet you on Friday from 1 to 2 at the Valiant booth, 1630. We're going to sign stuff, sell you stuff, stickers, posters, all that stuff. You'll really enjoy it. Saturday, meet and greet at the DC booth. Catch all of our social media for the updates about that and those. And we'll see you guys next time here on Off the Rack. I want to thank you all so much for hanging out with us, and we'll see you guys next week. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
So long, everybody.
Bye, guys.